through problems number 1 through 5 from the Polynomial Unit Summative Review. Let's dive right in. The first thing they ask you to do is take a look at this polynomial right here, negative 2x plus 5x squared plus x cubed. And they ask us to write that polynomial in standard form and also classify that polynomial by degree and number of terms. Well, we got a review here real quick. So let's remember what we've got here is a 3-term polynomial. It's got 1, 2, 3 terms, and the highest exponent that we see is a 3. Let's keep that in mind as we go back here and look at the types of polynomials that we've got here. The 2 ways to classify. The first one here is we classify by degree. That means what's the highest exponent? If you'll remember, the highest exponent that we had in our polynomial was a power of 3. And if we have a power of 3, a degree of 3, we classify that as a cubic polynomial. Now, generic name is polynomial, but if it has 1, 2, or 3 terms, they have specific names. And ours had 3 terms, so we would call it a trinomial. So the 2 words that we would use to describe our, let's get back to that problem, would be a cubic trinomial. Cubic trinomial. Now when they ask us to put that into standard form, let's go back and look at that. Standard form is down here at the bottom of the screen. Standard form would be if we have our exponents in descending order. You can see we have a power of 4 down there, and then we have a power of 3, then a power of 2. Now this x right here, minus 7x, has a power of 1, and then the 5 here technically has no x's at all. So we would have that in descending order. So we go back to our problem that we're assigned to do, and to put that in descending order, we would put the x cubed first, then we have the 5x squared as our second term, and then the minus 2x would be the final term. Again, look at our exponents. They go 3, 2, 1. So that's what we're shooting for when it comes to standard form. Standard form means put those exponents in descending order, going downhill. Number 3 is a simple addition problem. Do not mistake this for multiplication. When you see that right there, that means add. So we're just going to look for like terms. Let's start with our highest exponent first, 7x cubed. I don't see any other terms with x cubes, so the answer there is going to be just 7x cubed. Then we look at x squared terms. I have 6x squared and minus 3x squared. So we combine those. 6 take away 3, we end up with just positive 3, x squareds remaining. Notice I did not add the exponents. We do not make that into 3x to the 4th. We do not combine those. Then I go down to x to a power of 1. I do not have any other terms with just an x, so I end up with just keeping that one and leaving it alone. And then our last terms that we look at are the constants, the negative 5 and the negative 2. And if I put those together, we're just adding. So 2 negatives do not make a positive. 2 negatives just mean I have a whole bunch of negatives, and I end up with negative 7, so minus 7. So here's our solution, 7x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x minus 7. Now on to number 4. Now number 4 is an entirely different problem in that it is subtraction. This minus sign right there means we are subtracting. We are subtracting everything inside this second parentheses. That minus sign has no effect on these terms here, so we still have 8x minus 1. Those don't change, but we do have a minus 2x, and pay attention, and I'm subtracting that 7, it becomes a minus 7. So when we combine terms, 8x minus 2x, we get 6x, and negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8. So that's going to be our solution there. Be very careful. Make sure you subtract everything inside that second quantity. Now that applies again here to number 5, the last problem in this video. We are subtracting everything inside that parentheses. So what's in the first parentheses doesn't change. We still have an a squared plus 3a minus 4. But we will be subtracting everything in that second parentheses. Minus 8a squared plus 6a and a minus 1. Notice I changed every sign in that second parentheses. Now we go back. 8a squared a squared minus 8a squared would be negative 7a squared. Plus 3a and 6a added together give me 9a. And finally, negative 4 and negative 1, again, two negatives do not make a positive when we're just adding together. They just make a whole bunch of positives and I get minus 5. And that's what our solution would be for number 5.